more into thinking about, okay, well, we just got to bring more people in, bringing all these new people. And it's like, but you've had people in here who've been soaking up the culture for X amount of years, who know how to handle this, and that, who can probably do 5 other people's jobs and are like in line that if you gave them a promotion to do several different jobs, they can do each one and better than the last person before them. But instead of building those people and doing what is called professional development and growth.
Exactly.
Instead of investing money into that and investing money into making those people who are already there, who have already done the hard work and the time and the sweat and the labor, into making them feel better about working there, you're more concerned about bringing in new people, because it's easier to disillusion new people into how great an org is than to restructure it for those who are already there and who know the bullshit, who know the inside. You know what I mean? It's so much easier to just tell new people, hey, this place is great. Come on board. There's no bullshit here. Than to kind of like try and actually change the system for those who are in it, who work in it, who are like, this is all bullshit. Like, you can sit there and talk to me so you're blue in the face about how we're doing this, and this to make our lives better, and it's not. And the issue that is happening to me, and I want to say it's happened for Vincent, if I can speak on his behalf,
absolutely,
it's affecting people socially. For Vincent more so. Well, actually, for Vincent more so than me, but probably equally, only because Vincent is in a relationship.
Exactly.
And I'm not. So I mean, people take, and I feel like it's kind of worse. Not worse, but it's equally worse for people who are not in a relationship, because they take advantage of the fact that, well, you don't got a husband, you ain't got kids, you don't really got that much stress to feel like, oh, I'm not coming home and spending time with my kids. But that takes time away from me, finding somebody to date and to like me, and to spend time with my dick appointments and shit. Like, hello,
you and your rotation, you need time.
Like you guys are taking that time away from me. But I can totally see how it can affect you socially, because it's like, when do you and the Cuban get to go to dinner and have fun, and
you have to carve it out
and have this quote work-life balance that people love talking so much about, which I personally believe does not even really exist. And I want to say, like, it stopped existing for millennials more so than anything, because baby boomers, they had that. Once you were done at 5 o'clock, you were done at 5 o'clock, and you were on your train from the city to your home in Hempstead, and you were there by 6 o'clock. Your wife had your food on the table ready for you, and the martini ready. You're good to go by 8 o'clock. Kids are in the bed. You guys have your time. And now we're living in a society where women and men are both working. You find that they're working longer hours and not being paid in comparison to what people, 40 and 50 years ago were being paid to in comparison. Even though, granted, it's gone up, but inflation, y'all. Also cost of living. So you find that people are not only not having enough time to do social things, but in the time that they have off, because these places aren't paying you enough, they have to try and juggle 3 and 4 jobs on the side on top of that. You know what I mean? Because I know you do freelancing, I do freelancing. So when do we have the time to do these things?
I used to do that at work, but now I can't.
And that was the thing. Like, at my last job, I used to be able to freelance, like, at my last job, because I wrote a lot at my last job. So they didn't know if I was writing an article for them or for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt it was in the shadows. But now I'm at a place where I'm not writing, where I don't really sit behind. I do sit behind my computer a lot, but it's mostly me crunching numbers and doing spreadsheets and shit. So for me to take a moment to sit down and write some shit for a freelance, write some stuff, it takes time, and I can't really pull that away. Being pulled into meetings here and there. People want to, these long ass meetings where they just want to give you more stress and more added bullshit. Like, here's some more work that you guys are going to have to do, and here's some more bullshit you're going to have to figure out. And it's like, who the hell wants to go to these meetings?
Exactly.
Like,
I
these
also
company
deal
cultures
a lot
are just
meetings. Yes, I also deal. So oh my god, the meetings are just so much. But I have to find myself asking, So what do we do? Like, I'm in a situation where I still like what I do. I still like my coworkers. I don't despise the company, but I'm at a crossroads where I have to make some sort of decision soon, or shut the fuck up and deal with it. You know, and you're also at a similar situation.
I'm
where
at that crossroad.
Yeah, they kind of want to reward you. They want to reward you, and but you don't know what those rewards are going to come with.
Yeah, and they're like insanely vague, and that's the thing that they love saying that they have to be vague with me, which is like the most annoying thing either, because I've had people say to me like, just know that we're thinking about you. We can't tell you. I know I'm being really vague. I can't tell you what we're thinking, but we're thinking. And I'm like, you know what? That's not how you retain somebody.
No.
Because all that is to me is an empty promise of trying to tell me, like, don't worry, we are going to give you your flowers, but not right now. And we can't tell you how we're going to do it, but please just stick with us for a little longer. So that we can
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You just pretty much put it on to words.
A promise is a comfort to a fool, and that's what they think. I feel like y'all looking at me like boo-boo the fool because of these promises.
Exactly.
They ain't comforting. They're not comforting at all.
Yeah, yeah. So it's... Exactly. So
I don't know.
Folks, what do we, exactly.
What do we do?
And honestly, and if he and I are being honest, we just need to vent.
Yeah.
And, we need to vent. And at the we're not gonna always have the solutions to these things.
Because it's honestly like, what is the solution? I remember I went to a management training once for a job that I had, and in the management training, the person said to me, or the person who was facilitating the management training was like, I came to him and I was like, here are all my grievances. And he was like, so you've spoken to leadership about it? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, so have they made any changes? And I said, no. And he said, well, there's one or two things you can do. He was like, well, there's three things you can do. He was like, one, you can stay. And try to, he's like, you can stay and try to build up better rapport in that situation that you're in. Two, you can stay and just try to leave the department that you're working in.
Right.
Or three, you just gotta go.
Yeah.
And literally that's
it's simple.
And he was super honest and clear with me.
Right.
He was like, maybe it's just time for you to go, because if you're telling management like these are the problems that you're having with this person and that person, and they're not trying to fix anything, he's like, it's either you can stay there and continue to press it with them until they change it,
right?
Stay there and just try to apply to a different department where maybe a different manager might handle things, maybe a little bit more progressive, or not progressive, but a little bit more supportive, and push for change for you,
right? Or
he was like, so you just gotta go,
right? Exactly.
Like, you just take those resumes and send them elsewhere.
Exactly.
And I feel like in these crossroads that we're both talking about, like, his words are just coming back to me, where it's like, it's one of those three things. And I think it's hard for people, and not say, oh, well, posing those three possible outcomes. But then also going back and saying that I think it's hard for people to always go for number three, which is to go elsewhere.
Yes.
Especially if, like I said, if it's not a hostile environment and a hectic environment where, like, you enjoy the company of your coworkers, you actively enjoy the work that you're doing, you're good at the work that you're doing. Like, it is fulfilling to some kind of degree.
Right.
And you can see yourself developing and growing in that environment. It's hard for you to leave.
Right.
But at the same time, if management can't see that it's time to develop you and to help you grow and to promote you or to push you into, progress and professional development, if they can't see that, then sometimes you got to look at the whole, like, yes, it's something that I'm good at doing, and I enjoy the environment that I work in, or not even the environment, I enjoy the space.
Yeah, right.
Because the climate and the environment is two different things versus the space. Because you can be at a job where the space is shitty, like the climate, the culture can be a little, like, yucky, but the people who you work with make it worthwhile for you to stay.
Yes, indeed.
So sometimes I feel like people conflate the two of, like, having really good coworkers with having a really good job, and it's not the same. And I feel that's the reason why a lot of people you find, they say it's shitty jobs, because it's like, it's a crap shoot that I'm getting, but at least I get to hang out with and work with and chat with these same few people. We can shoot the shit every day. We can go to happy hour.
You're with them for 8 hours a day. You're with them for
it's
more
a second
time.
home.
Yes, you're with these people more than you are with your spouse.
With your own family.
That's just the truth.
And that is the truth. 40 hours a week, sometimes more, 50, 60 hours a week, you're spent with...
Unless you work in Sweden.
Unless.
Anyway,
which we don't.
Shout out to Sweden.
Shout out Sweden. Oh, and Sweden is one of the countries that follows us on the Adultish
That's
podcast.
The reason why I had to shout them out.
And please be sure to subscribe if you're in Sweden or the United States or anywhere where you're listening.
Yes.
Please subscribe. Please like, comment, and share all of these podcasts that you're listening to. But back to the work talk. Yeah, once you're in that environment, you feel like, you know what, I really don't want to leave because these are the cool people. But you know what you got to get in that mind frame of? If these people are so cool and these people are really great, then I should foster a friendship with them
right.
as opposed to looking at them as a coworker.
Right, yes.
You know what I mean? And at my last job, I had to do that because there were people there who I worked with, and I really did at my last job. I liked being there. I liked the work that I did, even though there were some things about it that I didn't like, but they were pigeonholing the girl, and they weren't. My old boss, the boss before the bitchy one, she was all about professional development. The other one came in and was like, I'm gonna shut that shit down. But my coworkers, they were lovely. I loved coming into work and talking to different people. Hey, Carson, Sam, even Sarai. Like, I used to talk with them all the time. Hey, shout out, Booze. And what ended up happening, I quit, but I fostered friendships with those people so that X amount of years later, 3, 4, 5 years later, we still meet up. We have our little happy hours together, even if it's once a year or 3 times a year. We check in on each other. Hey, boo, how are you with your new job? You hate them people. Let's go talk and drink it out.
Yes.
All that other good stuff. And so I'm at this crossroads right now where I'm like, am I going to be put in a situation where I'm going to have to start thinking about, hey, I'm going to force these friendships with these folks because I might have to dip.
Exactly. And I think what we should also stress is that if we get to that point, be comfortable and okay with dipping. You know, just be okay with that, because one thing I am noticing too is that, you know, we lost a lot of good people, and they were the folks that was like, I love y'all cool, and I'm on your Instagram, but I gotta bounce. And so I don't want to get caught up in being the comfortable, good employee that's staying because of that. And I want to be the guy that gets the fuck out, gets more money, goes somewhere where, you know, maybe I'm happier, maybe I'm not, but at least I jump ship. I could come back, go to a different department, or whatever, you know. But I think it is important to be okay with leaving, and or at least leaving the department if you want to stay with the company.
Yeah,
you know?
I
think it's dangerous to put up with shit that makes you happy. So that's something we should consider.
Because once you start dealing, and that's the thing, that once you start dealing with that extra bullshit, because right now it's a hectic environment. Yeah, you don't want it to get to a point where it becomes hostile.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's when I feel like that's when it becomes a moment, and you telling yourself, you know what, am I gonna stay or am I gonna stay and try and rework the system for yourself, right? You know, and how, in whatever capacity that you can rework the system to continue to keep it from being hostile, or if you're gonna say I'm gonna leave before it gets hostile, because I have no agency in changing that, and this is the road in which I see it going, and so I gotta leave. You know,
and that's real.
It's absolutely real. It's a shitty hand to be dealt with, especially when it comes to, you know, that corporate restructuring. And I feel like when it comes to things like, I feel like with any company, if you are a leader right now, I don't know who CEOs be listening to us right now, but if you is a CEO or a CFO or a VP or SVP, if you're part of the C-suite, if you're part of the senior VP or the P-suite, whatever, like whenever you guys are working on cultural corporate restructuring or restructuring a company, please think about your people and think about how this shit will affect their lives.
Amen.
We understand that there's a bottom line, and that bottom line is what you need to pay attention to because it's going to pay your bills, it's going to pay everybody else's bills, etc. But the fact of the matter is that it costs more money to try and recruit, hire, and develop new people than it does to professionally develop and retain the people that you presently have.
Amen.
It costs more.
Amen.
And so with that being said, when you're looking to change shit up, you need to start looking from within and start looking from the bottom up.
Right.
Who in this role can we elevate to another role to better this system, this department, and that way